Welcome to Speed City with John Massengale, Les Kaiser, and Jonathan Green. It's the fastest hour on the radio. Speed City.
Good evening, Gearheads. Welcome to Speed City. We are live in Austin, Texas. This is John Massengale sitting in studio with Les Kaiser and Jonathan Green. What's up, boys?
Happy New Year, folks.
Man, Happy New Year.
Yeah, we are first show of the new year. We're excited, man. We got some killer guests. We got lots to talk about. You wouldn't think it was the off season.
Hardly. It doesn't feel like it.
No, man. Tonight we have Jordan Taylor of Corvette Racing now to talk about the new C8R that's been racing down at Daytona.
Will it be embarrassing for Ricky to lose to his brother in a new car?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I hear he's pretty fast without the mullet nowadays.
Yeah, Jordan Taylor's a fun interview, too. He's a fun guy. If you follow him on social media, he does a bunch of cool stuff, but he's a fantastic race car driver, and he's in the new C8R that we've been talking about already.
We talked about it with Joseph Newgarden when it first was announced, but this is a guy that's actually driven it.
Yeah.
And he's driven so many different cars, including Corvettes, over the years, and he's a badass around Daytona, so he's the perfect guy, isn't he, really?
Oh, yeah. Man, it's fantastic to have him tonight. And let's see, we got a couple other guests, too. Jonathan, we got the lone American in the Toyota Racing Series on the show.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm heading down to New Zealand next weekend. The series starts in 2 weeks. So we're gearing up for the 16th year, a brand new car, the T60, which is now in line with all of the F3 and Euro F3.
Open wheel, yeah.
Open wheel. It's got the halo. It's got the super license points. But yes, one American. We had Cameron Dass last year and Juan Manuel Correa. This year, we've got Spike Colbecker, and he's racing, funnily enough, for Kiwi Motorsport, who are the American champions of F4. So this is, and based in Dallas, just down the road. So some friends of ours, as it were, friends of the show, but he is getting into a really good outfit. And he's got an interesting story because he's already been to New Zealand, but not with TRS.
That's right, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but TRS, such a great proving ground and test ground for all these racers, so it's going to be fun. But yeah,
and if we've got time, I've got another interview that I taped this morning with a returning driver from the Czech Republic, Peter Petacek.
Yeah, but Spike Colbecker is from where?
Missouri.
Missouri.
St. Louis.
Okay. St. Louis.
He's a youngster. I mean, this is a big adventure for him.
Yeah.
A big step up.
Yep. And Peter, we'll get an interview you did with him as well. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk. We got a couple stories I want to talk about before we get too far into IMSA land and Corvette land. And, there's one of them is, Les, you were talking about in Formula One about something that Chase Carey said. Yeah, about teams must make sense is basically is the gist of it, right?
Right. They got to make sense not only for themselves. They don't want somebody to just come out and give a poor showing. They want a good show. They want competitive things like that. And not only from a team aspect, but from the race and adding more races to the calendar. One of the things that he wants is we want to add more races to the calendar, but they've got to be good races. They've got to be interesting places. They've got to have something to bring.
Are you agreeing with that idea?
I don't want to get to the point that we see Formula One every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But
year round. Yeah.
Yeah, but absolutely. Formula One has grown up showing us the amazing locations around the world. And I want that to continue. And quite honestly, I mean, I love that it's such an impact on economy for these countries.
Yeah.
That it can help countries develop more.
Well, join the conversation because I'm going to disagree. Well, not disagree with you, but I'm going to take the opposite view. 512-643-5483 if you want to weigh in on this. But the bottom line is the reason why 22. Having done the full season of Formula One, I know how hard it is, but 22 races will stretch the budgets even further. We're talking about a budget cap now of $175 million. But you start doing 22 races, and then you're going from country to country. I mean, look at some of the places that they're going from, one area, like when they go from Brazil to Abu Dhabi. You're going around the world, and staffing-wise, you're getting to a point, and this is the worry once you get past the 20 mark, is that you're going to have to almost have two teams.
Yep.
because
two
people
support teams at least, and
you know, you don't get to see your family. You're living out of a suitcase. I've been there, done that, and it just actually, you know, it gets more expensive because you're always on the road. So in order to keep everybody replenished, if you're going to do more, and I mean, I get the idea. It's I mean, you know, you look at NASCAR, right? But it's all in America.
yeah,
So
sure,
it's
you could
doable.
Yeah,
Whereas this is so much more. I mean, you go to Japan, then Malaysia and Bahrain, and then back to Europe, and then you're off to Canada, and whoa, you know.
No, I'm with you, and you know that's only one facet of it. You know, that's where we got to face the budget that's going on with these, and understand if we're going to increase the number of races, we've got to do something about the budget to keep things intact, so that I can't afford 24 races a year, so I might as well not show up or just resign myself to the back of the field every time.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand there's going to be several adjustments to accommodate more races, and also
I
to
guess
meet
my
the
question
budget.
is what will help Liberty grow, but what will sustain the Formula 1 10 teams, especially the smaller ones,
yeah.
that they'll be able to afford to go racing. I mean, you think about a couple of years ago when Marussia and Manor
Right.
were racing. I can't believe that Caterham, could they go on 22 races
Yeah.
on the budget that they had?
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, there's no way.
You know, look at Williams now. I mean, you know, they're barely getting by. Add another 2 races. I mean, what is it, a race? I mean, who knows? But
Yeah, and you have to define barely getting by. I mean, they're not competitive. Is that getting by? Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're showing up and they're fielding cars.
and they got sponsorship, but
And you know, but does that count when you're so far off the pace and there's every single week you're going to be at the back of the grid? So
Yeah, but you know, as far as more races, I want to see Formula One go back to Switzerland. Beautiful course.
what?
Why are we not in Switzerland?
When did they go to Switzerland?
Oh, it's been back in the 80s.
Was
But
it?
that's my point,
Oh.
is
I don't-
there's some amazing places that aren't there anymore.
this article that you did was on Crash.net. You're linked to that. You're talking about the teams must make sense. This is also talking about expanding to 12 teams.
Yeah.
And going back to what you just said about Williams and Manor and all this, he's talking about how the teams have to have a strong business plan and have to have it all figured out and a financial viability to them. I mean, yeah, I guess fielding a team. You said it. You do have sponsors. If you're paying to get it all done, and the sponsors are willing to accept the fact that you're never going to win, that you're never going to be besides the back of the grid, I guess. That
If the
works,
business
but-
model, if Liberty moved the business model forward and the money's bigger and you have a price cap on what you can spend in development, let's say. I mean, we've already worked out, and we had Dave O'Neill confirming this, that the teams that like Mercedes are already developing 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
So they're going to spend the same 100 million. It's just how you do it. So you're not going to actually change Formula One overnight, but it's a good idea to change things bit by bit. But you're going to need more money in the sport if you're going to have more races and more people, effectively.
Yeah, it's very true, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out because, I think that I like most of what Liberty's doing, but there's risk in every change.
I agree with you. I love the fact that we're going to Vietnam and we're going to Holland next year. I mean, those are 2 really interesting, very, very different reasons for going to a race. Vietnam, again, gets to be on the map. We all have this sort of, rose-colored or version of Vietnam in our heads from all the movies in Hollywood and the war and so on and so forth. I've been actually and done a documentary there. It's a wonderful country and nothing like perhaps what you might perceive. But the same, obviously, Holland's got a completely different reason, and that's mainly Max Verstappen and its huge history in racing. They should be, the Dutch, like you mentioned, Switzerland. I mean, the Dutch Grand Prix should be on the calendar, especially with the interest currently both with the fans and the talent that they're producing. I mean, Richard Verschoor just won Macau. We know what Verstappen's doing, and there's a whole bunch of others coming up.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zandvoort, you folks check out the videos that they're putting out from Circuit Zandvoort, and they're really making a lot of progress. Even almost on a weekly basis, they put out a drone video.
I haven't quite figured out this oval part of it. Is it one corner?
It is one large corner that is banked.
Do they
like
do a
that.
loop-the-loop?
Yeah, do they do it?
Yeah, it's like a matchbox.
Yeah, it's got the little spinny wheels on the side,
good,
and when
good,
they go
good,
through,
good.
they're going to zip up faster.
I like that.
We're doing away with DRS there.
Good. I like that idea. We could work that out here at Coda.
Yeah, I think they're going to.
Hey, we could do a loop. We could do a loop at the top of the hill, back down into two.
Back down into two. Okay.
So you go up. You know how you at your old.
Can we paint it orange, like
your
the
old Matchbox?
That's what we were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Paint it orange. Here you
It's
go.
painted orange.
Actually,
Are
that
we
was
going to do
Hot
that?
Wheels.
Are we going to do the SST
Hot
things
Wheels,
where you
that
got
was
to
it.
pull the ripcord to start them all?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That sounds like the old Evel Knievel.
There you go.
I remember
toy.
that
Had
one
it.
too.
Yeah.
He kept falling over though.
You know, there's all kinds of creative
like the
ideas.
real thing.
Somebody get Chase Carey on the phone. There you go. We've got it all
We
sorted.
got it all covered.
Let's see. Les, you had another story in our show document. A new F1 team for 2021?
Yeah, that is one of those things. I'm interested in it, but when you get down to it, again, it's everything that we talked about, whether it would happen again.
Well,
And
what's
what
the
this
rumor,
is Campos is
Spanish
potentially
team.
coming up out of one of the lower ranked formula classes.
Yep.
And so it's great to see somebody that's a seasoned team has done well in the past that now they're looking at coming up in 2021. So it is absolutely a possibility. We're seeing it there. It's a Monaco. There's some Monaco influence on it as well. So should be interesting.
I think there's a possibility of another team in Campos, or who are already an established racing team, seems to be the most obvious. Where rather, the Haas's that come out of literally out of nothing to start Formula One, that's tougher. Whereas if you've got an established junior team that you can then ramp up, it's not dissimilar to where you see effectively Alfa Romeo's sort of Sauber Alfa Romeo, down through the juniors to F2, F3, F4, and so on.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're waiting on Jordan Taylor to call and talk about racing that new C8 Corvette. You're listening to Speed City Live in Austin. Back after these messages.
Hi guys, I'm Dan Ticktum, winner of the 2018 Macau Grand Prix 65th edition, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
Yes, and with some urgency, we're going to go straight to our first guest of the night. We
Let's
are
avoid the singing.
We are very excited to welcome our next guest. He is the driver of the number 3 Mobil 1 Sirius XM Chevrolet C8R, Jordan Taylor. Jordan, welcome back to Speed City.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, we are excited to have you.
Okay, you've got to be one of the luckiest drivers this season. I mean, we're salivating just to see the C8s, and here you are on track in one.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas and Hanukkah and all the holidays were last year, but as soon as January hits, tis the season for me, and with a new nice little present here with the C8R and getting our first official lap to the Roar this week ahead of the Rolex. It's exciting. The test went really well for us these 3 days, and I think we're all looking forward to coming back at the end of the month.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the test.
Yeah,
talk about how everything went, how competitive the car looks and everything.
Yeah, it's great. I think we nailed a lot of things down that we wanted to. We had a big checklist of things that we wanted to go through, and a lot of little things that you don't think about performance-wise. Like the car's new, so all the ergonomics are new. So things like driver changes, seat belts, seating position between 3 different guys. There's new drivers in the car, so getting everyone comfortable. things like that. But I think just looking at the timesheets for a new car, I think we're rolling out better than we expected, competitive-wise. And I think the main thing for the Rolex is being reliable, and so far so good on that aspect. So I think it was a solid test. I think we got through most of our program that we wanted to, and when we get back, we'll be looking good.
Jordan, I got to ask, I mean, am I right in saying you literally shook down the car, I think, back in October? But, I mean, none of you have really had any real time in this car.
I mean, the guys have been in and out of it over the past 2 years through development. They've done a lot of simulator work with it as well. My first time was at Daytona back in November for a 2-day test. It was Katzberg's and Fassler's first time, this week. And, they were able to jump in and get right up to speed. The car is very, user-friendly. The old C7R and C6R with the front engine had a very unique driving style to it, and the new C8R with the mid-engine, I'd say it's a lot more driver-friendly. Got a wider range of, operation. The window's bigger to drive it, so it makes it easier to jump in and go quick, which is nice, especially for endurance racing. But I think this early on in development, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement that we'll be learning throughout the year.
I've heard Chevrolet engineers and everybody at Chevrolet talk about the fact that they took on the road car, that they took the C7, they took that platform, their front engine, rear drive, with more and more and more horsepower. They took the platform as far as it could go. They just said we can't get any more performance out of that. But would you agree the same thing? I like the way you put it. The C7R had a unique. I mean, do you feel like it was kind of at the end and we needed to do this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I was out of the C7R the past 2 years, but the car was pretty old by the end of it, and I'm pretty sure they were nearing the end of development on it. I remember when I was in it in 2017, there were still some things to figure out, but I think by the end of it, they'd maximized its potential. Obviously, winning multiple championships with it and being a super successful car, but it was, I think, time for something new, something exciting like the C8R with the mid-engine. I think Ollie and Antonio were in the C7R and C6R for years. So for them, it's a big adjustment, drastic driving change and seating position, how you see the corner, how you feel the car, the way the tire works is all new for them. So at least for me, it's easier. I'm just jumping into something new. For them, they're, having to readjust, even though it's still a Corvette.
Yeah.
I got a question, Jordan. When you've driven so many different cars, and you've certainly driven this track many times. But when do you get that sort of racing driver grin on your face when you've got a good car underneath you? I mean, you're going into the unknown here. This is one of the toughest races in the world. You're up against Risi in Ferrari. You're up against the best Porsche can give you in terms of the opposition. BMW, you were faster than today, I noticed. But I mean, when do you kind of get that grin on your face as you come through the bus stop and go, yeah, this car can do what I need it to do?
Yeah, right me out. I mean, instantly, as soon as we got there, we were ready to go. I think, we knew what everyone was bringing to the table. The BMW has been the same car coming over from last year, and, the Porsche is new. The Ferrari is the same as last year as well. So they're kind of in their later development phases with those cars. I think Porsche is coming out with their new car, which we saw this week for the first time. The Corvette guys, this may be the first public test with the car, but they've been doing, work for years now on this mid-engine car and the simulator and the wind tunnel. Track testing it over the years, and this week we were able to put, in these 3 days, 1,200 miles on the car. So
wow,
we did a ton of laps over these 3 days, and that's the biggest part of it is putting miles on it, seeing where the strengths and weaknesses are, and coming back with the strongest package.
Well, Jordan, I want to ask about the car itself. I am a big gearhead, and I've been reading about the engine. And it's funny, I haven't really found official things about the new engine that's in the C8R, the race car only versus the road car.
So you're going to ask him?
Well, I mean, he may not be able to tell me, but I mean, I'm reading things
He's heard it.
Yeah, I've heard it on IMSA.com and stuff, but I'm hearing things like flat plane crank and dual overhead cam and things that sound like the rumors we've heard of the next generation of like Z06 and things. But what can you tell us about some of the hardware?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the most technical guy. When I hear all those words, it's like a big bowl of spaghetti for me. So I think.
Glad I'm not the only one.
No, oh, sorry, that's my dog. Hold on.
Crew chief.
Yeah, we've seen him on some of your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just parking at the window right now. No, but yeah, the new engine is a flat plane crank V8. From a driver, I can only really speak from a driver's point of view. I can't really
Sure.
speak from an engineer's point of view, but the drivability of it is very, very nice. When you're on track, you wouldn't know it's a V8 the way it drives. It's very pure. It's very direct. As you drive it with your foot, it's very predictable, which is exactly what you want, especially in this form of racing. Like when you go to Le Mans, you could be driving in half a wet track, half a dry track. You want a predictable engine, a predictable, power band, and that's what this engine gives. And I'm sure the guys have done tons of research and development on it over the past couple of years, and knock on wood, it's been reliable now through testing, and the performance seems very strong. So it's a lot to learn. It's a lot of new stuff. Obviously, they've been running a similar platform with the engine over the past few years, from C5 to C6 to C7. So this is definitely something new, but we've got the best guys working on it in the business. So I've got all the faith in the world in them.
Fantastic. Well, I know there's been a lot of changes related to the aerodynamics. You've cut off the mullet, but as far as the car goes, it's drastically different than the Corvette you were last in. How stable is that? Is it giving you more confidence from an aerodynamic portion?
Yeah, I mean, when I did come back to Corvette, a lot of people were talking about my hair because the last time I was there, I think I did have the mullet. But no, I mean, actually, I don't even know what the question was. What was the question?
Sorry, Les is just perennially rude to our guests. We're sorry, Jordan. I apologize.
Hey, look, the mullet is just one aerodynamic change. I know there are others. What can you pinpoint anything? Does it feel stronger for you aerodynamically?
He just wanted to talk about the mullet, but he's asking about the aerodynamics of the car.
No, yeah, well, honestly, most people do just want to talk about my mullet.
We're all a bit jealous.
So I'm just used to talking about it. I'm not used to talking about the actual car itself. But no, I mean, with the mid-engine, the drivability and the predictability of the car is way better, the weight distribution. So like I was talking about earlier, the driving style, for me, feels more like just a normal race car where you don't have to trail the brake off in a certain way. You don't have to be extremely smooth with your hands. It's very predictable. The C7R often did some stuff that was a little bit more unpredictable, where you had to just kind of be a little bit more cautious sometimes. But with this car, it produces more downforce for sure. With the weight distribution, it's way more predictable. Low speed under braking, power down. So I think so far, I mean, it's checked off every box that I could imagine of it being positive. The only negative is it's a little bit harder to get in and out for driver changes, but I think that's just going to become like a muscle memory practice thing where we just need to start practicing a bit more to get our motions down.
Let me ask you a sort of general question. This is the Roar, obviously. I mean, we're a long way off the 24 hours, and that will be the ultimate test, obviously. And there's a long way to go in development yet. But what is the buzz at Corvette? I mean, Ford have had quite a few years of sort of patting themselves on the back, winning Le Mans, coming back after 50 years, all that kind of stuff. We've had Ford versus Ferrari in the movies. Everybody's been talking about that. But Corvette bounced back with this C8. Are they kind of getting excited?
Yeah, I mean, the first day, Friday was the first day of the Roar, which was the real first public day the car's been at a racetrack. It's obviously been at a couple car shows like SEMA, which was obviously popular, but I think the racetrack is the true test to see who comes out to really see it. And, if you know Daytona, you walk around the corner to the garages.
Yeah.
And we were one of the first garages, and you could tell, the first thing is when you walk around the corner, there were by far the most people,
That's
around
awesome.
the garage. Corvette, and you could just see Corvette racing hats and shirts, everywhere. And it definitely outweighed everyone else, combined. So I think it's great. I mean, I've never been asked so many times, what do I think of a new car as I have this week about the C8R. And I think everyone's excited. Everyone's excited there's something new to look at, to cheer for. The C7R was an amazing race car with an amazing history, but now there's something new, something exciting, something they can, be excited about to cheer for. And, there's not too many of them on the street right now, so it's cool to see it on the racetrack, firsthand and see it up close. And that's the nice thing about sports car racing as well, that, you can get, right up next to it and pretty much touch it and talk to all the crew guys, the engineers, the drivers, and, get their feedback on it.
You touched on it, but the legacy of Corvette racing, 8 24-hour Le Mans championships, I mean, countless wins over the years. I mean, Corvette racing has a fantastic racing history. But I feel like there's a massive weight on all you guys' shoulders now with this. I mean, because the C8 Corvette, the mid-engine, after 60 years of waiting on this car, we've heard
Yep.
rumors my entire lifetime about Corvette becoming mid-engine. This is a huge, there's a level of expectation that's just got to be
true.
enormous, not only just for the car itself, but for you guys too. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are feeling that, and there's been discussions about that.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously going to be pressure and a lot of expectation, a lot of eyes on the program, especially with it being, like you said, a big change for Corvette as a brand going to the mid-engine after all these years and having been talked about for so long. So I think from a driver point of view, I think the transition's been extremely smooth so far. Just how well, the crew's able to work on it, the drivers are able to feel, the engineers can work on it and tune it. And from the fans, just using social media, seeing their reaction, people love the look of it. It's a great looking car and a great looking race car. And I think, it's definitely different. Some people aren't going to love it at first, but, people are afraid of change, a lot of the time. And I think Corvette's going down a really nice path with this car and, sticking with the times with something new. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to share it with people, and it's fun for me to be a part of the program and see all these Corvette racing fans, super excited about it, especially, firsthand at the track this week at Daytona, just seeing people's, big smiles and everyone have their cameras out and wanting to take pictures of it and be excited about it and share it with everyone else. So yeah, I think it's an exciting time for Corvette and Chevrolet as a brand, and I think it's going to be a, center of the world stage come the end of the month of the Rolex 24.
I really do too. I have a friend that's expecting his in the next few weeks, and he's just all bonkers and everything. But I just got to imagine you've got a lot of Corvette owners that are anxiously awaiting theirs. Are you going to get one for the street?
That was my question.
There you go.
I mean, I don't have one on order, if that's what you're asking. I actually haven't even driven the street car. I drove the race car. I actually saw the race car before I ever even saw a street car version of it.
You are a race driver.
I'm loving driving the race car. I've got an old C2 Stingray of my own in 1965 that I enjoy driving around the streets, every now and then. But if I can ever get my hands on a street car C8, I'd love to give one a try.
Well, we know Joseph Newgarden came on the show, and he was asking after one because he just won for Chevrolet. So if you can hook a brother up,
That would be nice.
Forget Joseph. How about us?
Hey, Jordan, we are in Austin, Texas. I know you guys don't have all the plans set, but man, we're going to get to see the C8 C8R when it comes to Austin for the World Endurance Championship. We're excited about that.
Yeah, I don't think anything has been confirmed about it yet regarding actually going there. I haven't heard anything personally, but I think it would be great to have Corvette back there. I know the team's won there twice in the past. Yeah. I've always enjoyed going to Austin. The city's right there with a great background with the city, and the track's a lot of fun. I think I also won there with Wayne to the Racing and a Corvette a few years ago. So I'd love to go back. I know Texas is a big, has a big fan base with Corvette. I think there's 7 of the top 50 Corvette dealers are there in Texas from 2019. Wow. So there's always a huge fan base for Corvette, and it's obviously a very American state and a very American brand. So I think it'd be a great place to be.
America down here in Texas, that's right. So we're just a little more time we got left. But what about? So you've talked about the time you've had in the car between now and the Rolex. What kind of time are you going to get in the car? Any more, or what's the next development for you guys?
That's it for me. I'll be off until I guess Thursday practice. I just got back home now. I only live about an hour from the track, which is nice. A lot of the guys are European, so they're about to fly overnight to get back home. But I'll write my test report back to the engineers and mechanics and send in my notes about how the weekend went and what we can work on and what we need to really focus on for the race weekend when we get back. But the drivers have it easy. We just send in our notes, study the video and the data, work out a bit, and prepare ourselves. But the engineers, will dig over the data for, all these weeks leading up to the race, go through all the changes we made at the test, aero levels, ride height, springs, all that stuff, and, try to come up with a game plan to have the best, car possible when we get back. So they've got a lot of work out, cut out for them, and the mechanics as well. I'm sure there won't be many days off, but that's why Corvette racing's been so successful in the past, is they don't rest very much.
Yeah. Last question for you. You know, we do our Formula One show on SiriusXM, and I noticed the SiriusXM logo on the side of that Corvette C8. I think they've been on there before, but that's pretty cool to have. I know that there's a lot of motor racing on SiriusXM. Good to have them as a sponsor, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a big, music guy and radio channel guy, so we don't get to listen to you guys in the race car, but to and from the racetrack, we get to listen to you guys. But it's always been great to have a partner with you guys and the team, and it's good to have partners out like that to the big events as well.
Awesome. Well, Jordan Taylor, thank you for coming back on Speed City. We appreciate it, and best of luck for the season. And we'll get you back on again soon.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for your time, Jordan.
Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya.
All right, we got to go straight to break. Speed City live from Austin. Back after these messages.
Hi, this is Rusty Wallace, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
Hey, you know what, Jonathan? During the break, Jonathan was talking about the impressions that Jordan gave us.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been much information out there.
We were searching ourselves on the net, right? There's
yeah,
nothing
there's
really.
just not much about the engine like I was searching for, but I didn't expect him to know.
But it still has got the new car smell.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has. You can smell the leather interior.
But also, what struck me was that I kind of figured the C8R was coming off the development out of the lab onto the trailer into the track, but they've obviously done a lot of getting the car settled before that. I know that, but you realize that there's been a lot of development done before.
Well, to go and race it at the hardest race. I mean, like I said, you saw the Ford versus Ferrari movie, and the first major test, if you're going to take this thing to Le Mans or get in the World Endurance Championship, is always the 24 hours.
How many miles did you say they did this weekend?
1,200.
That's what I thought.
That's a lot
1,200 miles this
That's
weekend.
a lot of miles.
And that's one thing I always love about January is forget football. We got the 24.
What's football? Jason Garrett? Who?
It's-
What? Cowboys? Never heard of him.
Yeah, he'll just be
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. How about them? Yeah,
yeah.
Do any of them have mullets?
There's a few.
Probably so. Yeah.
Next
so you know what? Let's go ahead, Jonathan. You want to
Yep.
introduce our next interview?
Yeah, and we've actually got a live caller coming on in a couple of minutes, but I want to introduce you to the first of what I hope will be all 20 of the Toyota Racing Series drivers. As you know, each year I go down to New Zealand and do the up-and-coming Super License Scoring Championship, which is without doubt in my mind the most prestigious single-seater championship there is, and it's all blocked into 6 weeks of racing. And Ferrari Academy drivers, Red Bull Juniors, the next F1 champions. Lando Norris won it a couple of years ago. Lance Stroll was a winner in it, so it's a who's who. And I spoke to Peter Petacek from the Czech Republic, who's just 17. And he's coming back, so he'll be one of the favourites this year. He's only 17, but he is coming back for his second run at the championship. And since I last spoke to him, or since we last were in New Zealand, he has done racing in Japan, the United Arab Emirates, Italy, Spain, and where else? Gosh, he's been everywhere.
That's it?
So anyway, I spoke to him this morning, and he's the first of what I hope will be many interviews about the Castrol Toyota Racing Series coming up, starting in a couple of weeks' time. So this is what Peter had to say this morning.
Okay, Speed City fans, I'm delighted to welcome onto the show ahead of the 2020 Toyota Racing Series, young Czech driver, 17-year-old Peter Petr Jr., who also took part in last year's championship and is coming back to New Zealand for another run at the Toyota Racing Series. Peter, first and foremost, wow, what a 2019 season. You've been very, very busy.
I did quite a lot. I did the TRS last year. I did the Formula Renault Euro Cup and one race in Asian F3 in Suzuka. So yeah, I think it was a tough year. Let's say with the traveling, but sometimes the years are like that. This one or 2020 is already busy too. So yeah, it's quite normal to me by now. But obviously 2019 wasn't the best year on track for me. But I gained a lot of experience, and I think I can use this experience in my favor for the next year and also in TRS.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you did TRS last year with Giles Motorsport. You got 11th place and a podium at Hampton Downs. Let me ask you this: what did you learn? Because you were still just new to single seaters, pretty much. Or very inexperienced compared maybe to some of the other drivers at the time. So what did you learn last year from TRS?
I think the biggest, I don't know how to say, like the biggest step in my career that I did because of TRS, I was never in a position that would be so tough within a team that doesn't have the same let's say the same budget and everything as other teams. So it was, learning that the sport can be also difficult at times, and sometimes you just have to calm down and just do the best possible and not overpush. So it was it's not nice to say, but it's experience that you need when you have one teammate that I had, Raul Hyman, who was experienced quite a lot, and then I had two teammates that Thomas Smith was just starting his career, and Dev Gore was he didn't have too much experience there, so I didn't have really a lot of people to learn from, and we were in a kind of a blind position, and it was just about calming myself down, and I think that was what made me a better driver. And then the track time in New Zealand or in TRS is amazing. So also that was a big help for next year, for this year actually.
So tell me, when you left New Zealand and then headed off back to Europe, how important was that to help you with the Formula Renault Euro Cup and Italy with the rookie title?
I think in the Euro Cup, it was quite tough this year, but New Zealand helped me quite a lot because we were in a similar position as I was with Giles Motorsport. The team didn't have too much experience, and my teammate was more experienced than I was, but he was a rookie too. So even though he did other categories and quite a lot of testing in GP3 car, he was still not like the driver to be on the top. So it was still difficult for us, and we struggled a lot, especially in the first part of the season. But I think New Zealand helped me in a way that I came and I was ready straight away. And I was a bit more on the pace than my teammate. But I expect this year to be even better, especially because I'm driving with MTech RaceGP. So this combination should be good. Last year they were promising already. MTech. I was surprised by the job they've done. And this year they have a help from RaceGP, So I think that's just a massive help for them. And I think we can make a good team together.
Yeah, now let's talk about that, because that's an interesting tie-up both for MTech and for RACE Racing. You met them, am I right, at the Yas Marina? You did the test for them.
Yeah, I can confirm that.
So how did that go, and what do you feel about the team that you're coming into this season?
Yeah, they were bloody good the whole season. They were on pace straight away. It seemed like they were just much more organized than all the other teams, and that's what led them to the title in Eurocup in general. But also, yeah, when I was testing with them, it was completely different story. I seemed like I'm trying something different than I was used to the whole season. I felt like it's a different car. So, yeah, I'm happy to join them in New Zealand.
You need to watch these guys that we've got on, like Peter Petacek that was just on, because we've had a few of them on over the years, like some of you may have heard of, like Lando Norris.
Lance Stroll, yeah.
Lance
I mean,
Stroll,
they are.
yeah.
I mean, last year's winner, Liam Lawson, is back to defend his title. He was 7th at Macau. Marcus Armstrong just moved up to F2 with Ferrari Academy. We've got 2 Red Bull juniors. Sonoda and Lawson, and we've also got Renault Formula One juniors and Sauber Formula One juniors. So it's, this is the real deal.
Yeah, and we've had all these young drivers on for years, man. You got to just keep. In fact, go look up some of those. How about that Lando Norris interview from like 4 years ago?
Yeah, we predicted it when he was just a little boy.
Yeah, you called him the next Lewis Hamilton, and that was in like 2000.
Yeah, and you all kind of went, really? That's a little pushing the boat out. And now look at him.
Now look at him. Hey, I want to talk about another couple of young drivers. Well, first of all, Kyle Kirkwood and Dakota Dickinson both did great over the weekend at Daytona.
Yeah, they did.
But there's another young driver I want to talk about before we go to break and hear our live interview. But Riley Dickinson, we had him on the show about, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah.
But he won the 2020 IMSA Hurley Haywood GT3 Cup scholarship. He's from right here.
Cool.
I think he's from New Braunfels, like right down the road, like 30 minutes
down
from
away
Austin.
What do you down? How do you say it?
Down the road a piece.
Down the road a piece.
Down there to your mom and them.
Yeah, I know William.
Austin, Texas, baby.
Yeah.
And this scholarship provides $85,000 in value for him and includes the full season entry in IMSA, a free set of race tires by Yokohama, $20,000 in parts by Porsche Motorsport North America, custom suits, all sorts of cool stuff. And we had him on the show. That's another name you need to watch, Riley Dickinson. So he's only like 17 years old. So yeah, we're following those young ones, especially during the off season. But let's go ahead and take a break. But when we come back,
We've got a young'un.
we got a youngin' on the phone. We're very excited. So we're going to have Spike Kohlbecker on the phone. So you're listening to Speed City live from Austin, Texas. Back after these messages.
Hey guys, this is Shay Holbrook, driver of the number 67 in the W Series, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
Welcome back to the show. What do you got, Les?
That's right. And hey, we're going to miss out on seeing Shay Holbrook behind the wheel this year.
That's right.
She's got one in the oven.
That's right. She's got a good excuse.
Did she find out what caused it? She hasn't got time for all that.
That's why you're the pretty one.
Oh, God.
Till the lights come on.
All right, we're going to throw to you, Jonathan, because I want
All
you
right.
to introduce our next guest.
Okay, live on the line, we have an up-and-coming racing driver from the US of A. We've been looking for the future, and we always do on this show, especially when it comes to Americans. I think we were the first to really introduce you to the likes of Kyle Kirkwood and Dakota Dickerson, and last year, Cameron Dass at the Toyota Racing Series. Well, I got a new name for you if you haven't heard of him, Spike Kohlbecker from St. Louis, Missouri. Spike, welcome to Speed City for the first time.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, first time, and hopefully many more to come.
Many more to come,
Yeah,
all
you
the
know.
way to Formula One.
All you got to do is get to the podium and you get in here.
I'd like that.
Listen, you've got a really, I believe are you still 16 at the moment?
I actually just turned 17
Fair enough.
on December 13th.
There you go. All right, well, happy birthday.
No,
But
you and
just
Connor Daly are right there
Yeah.
about that time.
Let's talk about your story because I love it. You don't know this, but I tried to track you down last time in Taratonga last year because I could see you in the Formula Ford car, and I was like, "Hey, there's an American here. I got to talk to him." And I remember calling John up and going, "Hey, there's an American here." And then of course I went off back to Auckland, and you went off back to doing what you were doing. But you are just starting out in single-seaters, but you've already had huge success. Tell me what you've been doing in the 1600s, literally around the world.
So I've raced in 3 different championships in F1600 just to build my resume up and see how well I can do it in those races. I raced in Canada, and then I went down to New Zealand where you saw me. And then I went over to the UK and finished second in the championship over there.
And also,
Awesome.
I believe you missed. Just talking about scholarships. You missed out on the scholarship that Jeremy Shaw runs. Am I right?
Yeah, I was a bit unlucky on that, but it was a great opportunity that Jeremy Shaw provides for me and the other people, the other drivers that were there as well.
Well, we're looking at video of you right now in those Formula Fords. They look like just so much fun to race. It's wheel to wheel. You've got no downforce. I mean, it's pure racing,
no
isn't
wings.
it?
Yeah, it's pure racing. We're pushing each other down the straightaway, and it's a great learning base, and I really enjoyed my time in that class.
So you are, I mean, talk about the deep end. I mean, we just mentioned Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. There's going to be a host of other sort of next sort of generation, like Liam Lawson and like Yuki Tsunoda here in the Toyota Racing Series in just a couple of weeks. How do you feel your first ever real international championship with Slicks and Wings and at the highest level?
I think it's great. You know, I'm here for a challenge, and to get better in racing, you have to find someone that's better than you, and you learn off them. So I'm really up for the challenge, and I'm excited.
Awesome. I was just sitting there looking on your website, and you do have a ton of all this racing experience, but you also put in a lot of time karting. It looks like, I don't know, there's like a page of karting championships and everything else you've done.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of karting. I started out when I was 4 and worked my way up and won a few national races and then converted into cars.
You know, that's the story you hear. You know, every Formula One driver, everybody at the top, it's like they started at age 4, 5, 6. Actually, 4 is pretty young. I think Lewis Hamilton said he started at 6 or something. But yeah, I mean, that's to me, that's where you start and get your initial experience. But what got you to racing and all the karting and everything?
It was actually my grandpa. He was a car collector and a Porsche Club member. And he was to get it. I was to get a present for Christmas right after I turned 4, and it was kind of a family outing, and we all enjoyed going to the tracks all around the U.S. and just racing, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Well, I mean, what I find interesting, Spike, compared to a lot of Americans, and you know, we're all big Formula One fans. We follow Formula One very closely. We obviously cover the Formula One here and the IndyCar here. But we talk to so many young guys your age who are kind of focused on America and Indy and the road to Indy, and yet you've already raced in both Britain, New Zealand, and Canada. So clearly, you know, your mindset is such that you want the international experience to be noticed.
Yes, you know, we're not really trophy hunting to say, but we enjoy traveling, and we really go for the best experience, the most track time, and a really high competition skill set in that field. So that's really what we're chasing all around the world, and that's why we've come back to New Zealand.
What's your long-term goal then?
You know, I'm a racing driver, so any car that you give me, I'd love to drive. I really haven't thought about the future, and I'm just, to get to the future, you have to do it one step at a time, and that's what I'm focusing on.
All right. Earlier, you said you like to go to see the driver, to be around people that are really good, to learn from them. You got to have some favorite drivers in the highest levels of sport, like IndyCar, Formula One, whatever. Who are some of your favorites or your idols or whatever?
You know, I really haven't thought about that much, but there's some really good drivers that I look up to, like Joseph Newgarden, and he won the championship last year in IndyCar, and he was. I like to see him as a really determined guy, and I want to reflect that onto myself and pronounce that in the car just like he did.
You know, I noticed you're racing for the current American champions, Kiwi Motorsport, who, of course, are originally from New Zealand, but race here in the States and are based in Dallas. They just won with Josh Carr. I was following the series. A great team, Gary and Tina. Is your hope to kind of maybe stick with them afterwards and come back here?
That's yet to be determined, but I think Gary and Tina are a really good, they run a really good team, and they're both very nice people.
Yeah.
I had the chance to meet them last year and this year, so I'm excited to work with them this year and maybe into the years to come.
Hey, so you just said you just turned 17. How do you balance the school and dates and girls and all that stuff? How do you balance all that with your racing?
Well, it's a bit difficult, but my school district has a program that allows me to do online schooling, and I've been doing that for the past year now, and that's a really good flexible schedule because you can just if you miss a day, you can get caught back up, and that's a big help. And family and friends, I see them when I can, but my main focus is racing.
I was going to say, you said in one of the articles, we've been looking at your website and we're showing it out on the website on our Facebook now. But you said that you want to be that hometown boy that comes good because it's not like we know that many names that have come from. Well, there's a few flying names that have come from some St. Louis, Missouri, but not many racing names.
Yeah, we're trying to build a STL made. Based program, and I want to pronounce out or push out STL, and want to have good local sponsors and just from STL. So that's really what I'm pushing. That's
really cool. Very cool. Well, listen, I'll be with you in a couple of weeks' time and looking forward to watching you race. No pressure. The shoulders of American motorsports on you. No, we're really excited for you. What are your expectations? I mean, it really is, like I said, first time in Slicks and Wings in the toughest championship in the world. I know you know some of the circuits, which will help. But what are your expectations for this next five weeks ahead?
My expectations are just to learn and push myself as hard as I can and to do the best I can. I'm really excited to see how what the competition is, and just from looking at stats, they're all really good, and that's how you get better. You race with other good guys, so I'm excited.
Well, listen, make sure you tell, I mean, we've got a good audience and they love getting behind young Americans. Make sure that we know what number you are, where you are on social media, and how we can keep following you.
So I'll be car number 5 this year. And for social media aspects on Twitter, that would be Racing Spike, Racing Spike.
Nice. I like it.
The website is Spike Colbecker Racing. Instagram, Spike Colbecker Racing as well. And Facebook is Spike Colbecker Racing.
You got a great name for racing.
Yeah.
Racing Spike.
Like it.
Yeah. That's a good nickname, and it sticks with people, so that's good.
Well, thank you so much, Spike Colbecker, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and best of luck down there in New Zealand. And, of course, Jonathan will be down there guiding you through all that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show, and I look forward to seeing you.
All right.
All right, guys.
Travel safe, buddy.
Thanks, Spike.
Bye.
He sounds like a nice kid.
Good kid. I like it.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
gonna
and
be fun.
you know, I like the fact there's a new prerogative as well now with the Road to Indy, so we should see more Americans now
That's right.
heading down
They've
there.
been down there.
Well, yeah, they've got a basic thing saying that you can effectively waive your entry fee if you are a member to go either way. If you want to do a test,
that's
they'll
cool. I
give you
didn't know
free
that.
tires, and you can do a Road to Indy test on their Road to Indy. You know, all the way up to Indy Lights, and likewise, you can get an entry into the Toyota Racing Series. So I think we'll see more Americans soon.
Hey,
Oh,
and
that's
I
cool.
love that he's coming out of a place that we don't think of St. Louis.
I know,
as motor racing. I mean, they've got a quality drag strip there, but otherwise,
Gateway,
What's that?
Gateway,
Yeah.
the
Gateway
circuit.
International.
Oh, yeah.
Raceway.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading my notes. Want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
No.
Hey, we're out of time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Of course, go to our website, speedcitybroadcast.com, and follow all of our content there. You can find us on iTunes and Spotify and all those other places. But thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
Ciao, y'all.
Happy trails.